How are you?
I'm wonderful. How about yourself?
Good. It's so good to see you. Cheers from San Francisco.
Cheers. Oh, I need to grab my tea. Let me just do
Grab your
this.
tea. Grab your tea. Welcome everybody. Lonnell Williams, my good friend, and me, Toan Lam, in case y'all don't know who we are. We're gonna chat and go soul to soul, bro to bro. And during this crazy Corona crazy time, I really wanted to chat with Lonnell and see what we up to, see what he's up to, how he sanitizes his spirit. Hey, what's up
Cheers.
from San Francisco and Atlanta, right?
Correct, in Atlanta for, I guess this is like 7 weeks now.
I don't
I
even
can't
know. I
believe.
think I read yesterday, was it the like shelter in place for California was March 19th, I think.
Wow. Yeah, it's strange because I travel so much. It's strange to actually be on the ground all this time, but I love it. I am loving it.
Right?
So,
I know. Okay, so
although I have a flight coming up very soon, but I do love it.
I'm gonna tell y'all a secret is that I'm really loving this slower pace. And I know like there's parents out there that are just like, I was chatting with my friend yesterday and she was telling her kid, would you just leave me alone for 10 minutes? And I just am like really loving the slower pace and the mindfulness and how this is really, whenever there's a time of crisis, it really forces you to focus.
Right, right. And I'm the same way. I'm loving it. It's so funny you talk about the children, and I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, all these parents don't know what a gift they have, or maybe they're finally appreciating the gift that they have in teachers and daycare and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm those little rugrats can be a bit much.
One of the things that because I've been blogging regularly about just the Corona craze and just kind of offering some wisdom. Like I meditate every morning, every single morning, and then whatever download, if I feel like it, I'll do a video blog. And one of the things that I remembered blogging about in the past that I reshared was changing one word to shift your perspective, and that is instead of saying I have to be with my kids or I have to homeschool, say I get to homeschool.
Hmm.
Right? It's just that like slight shift. So I'm so glad for those of you guys that are watching, it was funny because Lonnell and I were catching up the other day and we're like, you know what? Like so many people have been coming to us um, wanting to interview us or just personal, like family and friends and beloved have been asking us, what are you guys doing spiritually? Like, how are you finding that joy? And it's so funny because you and I just live it. It's,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I don't have to find it. I found it
Yeah.
years ago, so
Yeah.
I'm just, yeah, I'm just anchored in it now. But I
Yeah.
think people are trying to get to that point or get to that space, and how do we do that? So yeah, that's important.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I've been having a good time. You've been holding up okay.
Yeah, I've been,
You
yep,
got your
been holding up.
routine.
Yes, I've been holding up amazing. And, just what really is helpful is having a routine. So I would love to chat about like, people have been
Sure.
asking you and me, like, what are you guys doing? So let's go to Mr. World Traveler first. I mean, like you're grounded. I mean,
Right.
literally grounded and grounding, right? So
Oh,
what are you doing to like physically, mentally, and spiritually, like just
uh,
stay grounded and rooted?
the first few days I just slept. I just slept. I did lots of sleeping because I never
Body.
realized, going, and my body clock finally adjusting to a particular time zone for more than like 48 hours. It's kind of crazy. Although it's still not adjusted because I'm not going to bed until like 3 in the morning. But
Better not be
I,
up on your phone. No.
maybe till about midnight. But I've been doing some reading and writing and stuff late at night, and then I'll get up later in the day unless I have appointments later in the morning. But like you, I get up and open my eyes like I always have done. It's like thank you. It's just like trying to set my energy into the space of gratitude. I'll do a meditation. Sometimes I do the meditation right after I wake up, and then sometimes I'll do it like after my tea, morning tea or something like that. But I make sure that I'm getting into meditation. I actually have a prayer list because people say, "Well, can you pray for my family?" Because so and
Yes.
so's happening.
Yes.
I actually have a list that I go down and say the names on my phone every
Oh, I
day,
love that.
and I go down and speak something positive and prayerful about whoever has asked me to, whether it be somebody I just randomly saw on social media that doesn't even know that I'm doing it, or someone that has asked me directly. So I try to go through my list every day and make sure that I speak the names of those who have requested some type of positive energy being put out their way. So aside from that, there's been, after that, what I will do is typically just kind of start my day. Maybe I'll check some emails, check my social feeds. Because I've been doing a lot of reading, so I try to do some of that during the day, and then try to be productive, do some writing and whatever. And that has some work stuff. Even though I'm grounded, I'll still have some work stuff that I'm doing remotely. So that's pretty much every day. And then I try to get in some type of workout. Typically, I found these videos on YouTube that I can do in the living room. These either power walks or jump rope routines and stuff like that that I can do in the living room or in the great room and have space to do that. So pretty much been trying to do that kind of doing some of that stuff.
I'm journaling a part of the notes for our conversation just because
I love
I
it.
always learn so much from you too. So I'm just also like some thoughts that I have too. Yeah, so same here. Okay, so my morning meditation, I blogged about it and I'll share the blogs in wherever this goes live too. But yeah, I essentially I think a morning routine is really important. So if you have a family, whether you have a family or don't, if you can get up just a little bit early, and a lot of people have been asking me how do you meditate? How do you start? And I've been practicing this for years and years and years. And I say, you know what? Don't be all freaked out about what you think meditation should be. There really is no goal except just to focus on your breath. And it's really daunting because you read about it, and some people will be like, well, you know what you got to do is you got to really focus and let go of your thoughts. Well, how do you let go of your thoughts, right? I mean, you walk people through okay, I just focus on my breath, focus on the smells around me, focus on a plant or a view if you have a view, and it's okay. Invite the thoughts, and then if you invite them in, and just focus back on your breath or focus on the vibration that comes through your fingertips. I learned that from Eckhart Tolle, New Earth, Eckhart Tolle, my favorite books and authors. But he was like, if you just sit quietly and you feel your fingertips. I tried to teach a friend this the other day. She works at this big company here in the Bay Area. And so she was just like, I don't feel my fingers though. She was like, I really need to practice. And I said, well, you know what you do is then just start with 10 deep breaths every morning to reset. And you and I have talked plenty about that. And I do apps. I love Insight Timer. I was going to ask you, what do you use for your app? What kind of apps do you use? Apps to meditate? Or what do you do?
I've got the Deepak Oprah. I've got
I love that one.
Several series of those 21-day meditations. Okay. I've got about 10 of them. And then I've also started using Calm.
Okay.
The one that has that LeBron James, I guess, is part of, for some different ones. And there are plenty of free ones on YouTube. There are plenty of free ones all over the internet. So,
yeah.
But I use primarily Oprah and Deepak, and then I've been using the Calm ones from
okay.
LeBron
I
James.
use so YouTube is great. Sometimes I'll do Tara Stiles. She's a yoga meditation person. She's more a movement. I love her. Tara, T-A-R-A Stiles, S-T-I-L-E-S. It's funny because I've compiled a list of this and I've sent it out to people. So I'm happy to share it here if people want. But I do that. And then I love Insight Timer because you could set a timer for a bell to go off, like a gong, to go off for 1 minute, 10 minutes, or whatever. And my minimum is 15 minutes of silence every morning, sometimes 20. And then if I want more, I'll go to the app and I look at the teachers. And I love Thich Nhat Hanh. And there's a ton of different people that meditation, medical leaders and teachers that you can go to there. So I do that, and that, I start my day off with a cup of water, like a big 2 cups of a big mug of water, and then I hold my I'll pour tea in it, hot water, and then I'll hold it while I'm meditating. So I like doing that. But it's really important, even if you have a busy life and it's crazy, get up just a little bit early to take 10 deep breaths. Go to the shower, lock yourself in the shower, or while you're showering, take 10 deep breaths. That's what I tell people to start out. But having a routine is important. It feels so amazing to make your bed. You feel a sense of accomplishment. So I make my bed so that when I return to it at night, it's just all made and it's nice. I don't know, it just little mind hacks like that are really helpful. And then getting dressed. It's important to get dressed on days that you feel slumpy, or it just changes your mindset and your mood, right? Yes, and I also have a workout routine every Tuesday, Thursday. I have a virtual group that I work out with and do a.
Oh, that's cool to do it with a virtual group. Yeah, I hadn't thought about
You can join us if you want. It's my CrossFit friends.
Okay, you matamos.
And yesterday we only did what 200 step ups. No, just kidding. Not only that was the beginning and end. 100 at the beginning, 100 at the end, and then in between there was like 2 workouts. I'm teasing, but no, we did do that. But it helps to. I tell people it helps to that when you are, even though you are in isolation, it doesn't mean you have to be isolated.
Right,
And
exactly.
our conversation the other day privately was just like I still am buzzing over that and feeling amazing over that. You know.
And it is important to have like connection some type of way, even if it's through social media. But that's the beauty of technology. You can still have some type of connection with the world outside of your home. Don't feel like you're boxed in and closed in by these walls, and make the most of it. But it's a huge, huge, huge adjustment. And my hope is that through all of this, that soon when it's over, we don't suddenly have selective amnesia and then just go back to the madness that we had before. Because I think back to like
Yeah.
9/11 and how I lived in New York City at the time. After 9/11, everyone was so like peaceful and calm and unified and terrified, some of us, for about 2 weeks. And then after that, we were flipping each other off, cussing each other out, get out of my way, move, shove, me, 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 me. So I'm hoping that, I thought we would have learned a lesson from that experience collectively, but we didn't. So I'm hoping that from this one, that we will, so that we don't have to get this lesson on an even larger and more devastating scale, because that does happen. If
Yeah.
you don't get the lessons,
Yeah.
it comes back to louder and louder to teach you. So that is my also part of my prayer, is that most of us will get the lessons to be a little more compassionate, to be a little more in the present moment, and just mindful and courteous. Whatever happened to being
Yeah.
courteous?
One of the things that really worries me is that, I grew up in Sacramento, California, and I was actually interviewed recently at the CBS station here by Kenny Choi, another Asian
Mhm.
American man who's the anchor for this weekend show. And we are talking about my Toan Lam talk show that's going to launch soon. And the crazy thing is, on the comments, somebody said, "You guys need to go home." And I was like, "Go home to Sacramento?" And there has been an outbreak
Right.
of Asian American, anti-Asian American sentiment and attacks, and it is horrifying. Like Lisa Ling had said, her daughters and her little daughters, and she has been getting death threats because she's been speaking up against how this is not okay. People are telling her to go home. We hate you. Horrible, horrible words that I will not repeat. And I worry that right now we're all under quarantine, but when we get released to the world, is this ugly going to come out? And I'm really thinking about what I can do as an Asian American who's proud to be Asian and American and somewhere in between, to figure out what we can do collectively, to raise more compassion and awareness and letting people know that this is not okay. And on the interesting side too, I've seen somebody actually on Lisa Ling's feed and other feeds that have said, Black people, I'm gonna say it, some Black people have said, well, you tell the Chinese that because they're racist in China towards Black people, blah, blah, blah. And I love Lisa's comeback. Her clapback was, you're right, that's not okay either.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
None of
This
it's okay.
virus,
Right? It's not my pain is greater than your pain. Effie, we all got pain, as they say.
basically, I don't care if, yeah, you're Black, you're white, you're gay, you're straight, you're a woman, you're rich, you're poor. Guess what? This virus does not discriminate.
And yeah, and all of that, all of that hatred, period, no matter where it's targeted, sometimes it's highlighted in places, or it's not highlighted in places where it should be highlighted. But none of it is right. None of it's
Yeah,
none of it's right. None of it
yeah.
at all.
So I love that you just brought up too the fact that your prayer that you're holding space for is that, um, we will not have selective amnesia. But how are we going to help spread, aside from talking about it right here, but how are we going to spread that and share that, and how do we do that? I mean, what are you?
Right. It's that whole, like that old adage says, each one teach one. If one person can just like we got to all this madness and chaos one by one, we can, you can reverse it, or you can choose a different path. So I can't worry about, like, okay, how can I single-handedly change the world?
Mm,
But I can worry about how I interact with my neighbor or
mm,
the people that I come in contact with during whatever. And if more of us just focus on that, if you just focus on the task in front of you, what you of how you can contribute, then gradually, we will see shift and change.
Yeah, I love that.
But you can't be overwhelmed by fear. I mean, I have to stop watching the news.
Oh, yeah. One of my other blogs, everything we're talking about, I've blogged about. It's funny because I've like been experiencing all this. And one of the blogs was choose facts over fear.
Right.
I mean, I've stopped watching. I can't watch the briefings. How can you?
I can't watch the briefings.
Presidential briefings.
And really, I can't even watch cable news.
Yeah.
I mean, none of them. None of them are about news. It's all day conjecture and slant.
Yeah.
Some of like PBS might come on for an hour. Their news hour I'll catch.
Yeah.
Some occasionally I'll watch some network stories. Try to keep in the loop of what the actual news items of the day are. Yeah. But aside from that, it's just too much chatter.
Yeah. You know where I've been getting my news is I've been getting it. There's a Facebook group that's called We're In This Together. And this woman collects just facts, and she has a daily roundup. Like, here are the numbers. Here's what happened today. This is what the president said. I won't get started and it won't get political. And I love it because that's exactly what I need to know. There's potential vaccine, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's all I need to know, like the daily roundup. Wow. And then I actually go and compare that to Katie Couric has on her Instagram, former newscaster Katie Couric, a daily roundup as well, and that you could read on her Instagram. And I love that because that's really all I need, because I just can't, I just feel energetically the vibration is fear-mongering, and I just feel myself getting caught up in it and that energy, and it's yucky.
Right. Yeah, I find myself if I have the urge to troll somebody, which I get often, and if and I realize, well, what are you doing? Why do you even have time to let this energy occupy your space? Why? And that's when I have to check myself. The moment, when somebody, if I get trolled or something and I'm ready to respond, I'm like, wait, why? What is it about you in this particular moment that you're missing? Because certainly you can be doing something more productive with your time and your space besides trying to come back at a troll. So when I find myself motivated to engage in negativity, I had to check myself and kind of breathe and stop.
Yeah. But there's a way that you can clap back, or there's a way that you can speak up and say, that's not okay, and still have your presence kind of be known.
Right. But typically that's not the first emotional response.
Yeah,
you got to still step back and breathe. And then when whatever has triggered you no longer triggers you, then you can respond.
That's a really higher plane, brother. It takes a lot of spiritual practice to do that. So you know what? A couple weeks ago, well, I've had two interesting incidents where people are just like this lady, traffic coming this way, she was blocking the path, and she was like, "You're not 60 feet away," like that, and I'm like, where else am I gonna go? I was like, you can step aside, because you're blocking the main pathway. I can't go out into the street right now because there's traffic, and it was just one path. And she thought I was coming up too close to her, and I was like, but she's standing right in the middle of this sidewalk, and I just had to gently explain that to her. And I was walking with a friend of mine early on before around the time the shelter in place here in the Bay Area. I was going down the Lion Street steps, which is famous, beautiful steps that go down to the marina, and it's 100-something steps going both ways. Mm-hmm. And so I was coming down the steps. I was already halfway through on the first landing. Sorry, I'm lisping because I have my Invisalign on. I love how you have your bandana on. We're all not made up or anything.
Oh yeah.
But I was going down the steps, and then when I got down, she was as though she owned the place. She was like, something to think about next time is you can wait for other people to come up. And I was like, I was like, oh, and my friend was starting to engage with her, and then I was like, oh, we were already halfway down and you were at the bottom. I was like, have a nice day. And she was kind of shocked that didn't come at her, because what I've learned because I've taught for over 11 years at a university here, and I've learned that don't be crazy with crazy.
Right.
Right. That's really important. Wait, what cup is that? Is that a Ellen cup?
No, it's the Obama portrait.
I love it.
From the National Portrait Gallery.
Yeah, I remember visiting that and seeing it in person. Isn't it so powerful?
It was powerful in person. It was supposed to be coming to Atlanta this summer, but I guess that's done.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yes,
everything else is opening up in Georgia. No, I'm just kidding. Don't get me started.
don't get me started.
So
uh,
how is it going there, just being grounded and not working, and being home?
I personally love it. So that,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. But it's just, it is an adjustment, and some people do freak out.
Yeah.
But I personally, I enjoy it because I don't get this kind of time. I don't get this kind of downtime. I
Yeah.
still have stuff to do. I still have,
Yeah.
stuff to work on.
Yeah.
But for me, it's wonderful. But I know it's not so wonderful for everyone, and I'm very well aware of that.
Yeah.
And especially with the unemployment and this whole open, the governor opening the state is an economic scam as far as I'm concerned, because if you these people can work, now you don't have to pay them unemployment benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just crap. So that part of it is frustrating for me, like, although personally, because I don't even work in the state of Georgia, um, it's not affecting me the same way as it's affecting others. So I still have compassion for those people, and that things should they should be I don't know, they should get back to normal hopefully soon. But we'll see. We shall see. But everybody's not loving it like I'm loving it, and I understand why. You shouldn't if you if you don't have the capability to work, or you're being forced to return to work into
Yeah.
unsafe conditions by a government mandate that's really not about your health and safety, but about bottom line. But what do I expect? The man stole an election. Why do I expect him not to care? Okay, let me stop.
Don't get me started. I mean, like,
Can we
this is
move on to
all I'll
different?
have to say.
That's why I say I got to stop myself and go back to
Exactly.
center.
It's really easy to be knocked off your center
It's
when
so
you hear
easy.
that man talk.
It's so easy.
But
You just have to breathe and
yeah,
recalibrate.
but isn't it such an interesting play for re-election, like political play, to say, it's up to the governors, whatever, so you can blame the governors for everything. Don't get me started, right?
Right. It's too late for all that. But yeah, so let's
You know. But to your point too, like somebody can be watching and be like, oh, you guys live in a whatever world because like, we're suffering and this, that, and the other. But you and I have been through so much suffering. We've lost so many beloved people. And I think that what was interesting is that a good friend of mine who's super joyful and on Broadway, now there's no Broadway, so they're all like tripping. And she was like, Toan, she was like, how do you um, stay joyful and find that center in all of this? Because she goes, it used to come so easily, and now with this like totally no work, and like all my friends are not working in Broadway, and she was like, well, how are you doing this? And I was like, well, it's years and years of just reflecting on, like, I know a lot of people right after college, they've been gunning it, and now they're like 30, 40, 50, whatever, and they've been working, or going, not really stopping to smell the roses or stopping to pay attention to their pain and grief and suffering that they've suffered. And full stop, I've been stopped many times, like from losing 4 family members in 13 months to having a brother-in-law that committed suicide, and like and then on, I can go on and on. But I feel like everything that has happened has allowed me to then realize that, I'm not gonna lie, when this all started happening and we didn't have any information, I started like reading a lot of news, and then I started feeling, and I stopped and halted myself, and I was like, whoa, back up. I started feeling uncomfortable and feeling like I wasn't in my body anymore, and I was in my mind and worried about things that aren't happening yet. Right. And then I just like pull back, because really one of the biggest spiritual lessons from all kind of crises is it forces you to focus on what's really important, and focuses you to feel the feels. Because right now, it's just all out there. Like all of us are in this together. And the only way really to get through this is through it and together. And I just hope that people like realize that they can offer one little thing, whether it's checking in on a neighbor. I mean, that too, in terms of like, we talked about routine and all the things that we're doing to stay grounded, and facts over fears and all that. But one of the things is like, hello, universal spiritual life lesson, life law, whatever you want to call it, is when you give back, you get back so much. And so it's like checking in with people that you love, even the calls like this, right? Checking in on a neighbor or somebody that maybe is immunosuppressed or elderly, and helping them out. I've called several people and said, if you need me to go to the grocery store, let me know. Like if you need me to run errands, I know that you're, you have
Yeah.
your
And focus on the things that you can control. Worry about the things that you can control. The stuff
Mhm.
that you can't control, stop making yourself nuts over it because you can't control it. And your worrying is only making your life worse.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about it. The things that you can control, control and focus on those. And that's easier said than done, but you just got to make it a practice. You just have to. One foot in front of the other. What is the next right move for me? What should I be doing next? If you try to look at the whole big picture, it's overwhelming. One step at a time. It's like you build a house, a brick house, you lay it one brick at a time, step by step by step. So that's, if I can give anyone any advice for that, for getting through this, that's one very effective coping mechanism. Worry about yourself, what you can control.
Yeah, one foot definitely in front of the other. And I know so many people that are not working in the video production world, right? Because that's a world kind of that I'm used to, and that's my career. And I say, you cannot. I tell them the same thing. You cannot worry about what you cannot control. You cannot control when you're going to be able to do these video productions again, when you're going to be able to get a job if you're worried about jobs or paying your bills. But what you can worry about is writing your cover letter, making sure that your resume is judged, and up to par, refreshed, making sure that you reconnect with people to continue to network even virtually. That's what you can control, right? But what you cannot control, if you worry about it, you're living in the future, which causes anxiety and fear that's not even here yet, but you're feeling it here. You're
Right.
making it real.
You're bringing it into the present. Stop bringing the anxiety into the present and actually enjoy the present. Step outside. Like one of the things I've been doing is like reading on my front porch, and I'm hearing the birds. And I live near the airport, so constantly I'm hearing aircraft. But lately, because of the skies have been, the capacity of aircraft in the skies is so reduced, I'm hearing more birds chirping all in the middle of the afternoon and not just early in the morning. And feeling the wind on your skin, feeling the sun on your skin. Engage in things that are going to be productive. Even the little things should be the smallest things make the biggest difference.
Yeah, I do feel like I've seen this somewhere online, and somebody said it's like Mother Nature put us all on a timeout, and maybe it's an amalgam of all those things. Whether it's less planes flying, which means the birds aren't as afraid of the noise and they're around more, right? Or maybe things are quieter and we can also pay attention. I have been loving. I've never heard the birds chirp so loud and so frequently here. And when I go on walks or like look through my social media feed, I see people stopping literally to smell the flowers and roses, and
Mm-hmm.
like I see so many photos of nature that people are taking, or architecture from neighborhoods. I'm walking around here in my neighborhood in San Francisco. I'm like, wow, I've never noticed that gargoyle. I've never noticed those those French tulips, or it's just really, really, like I said, making us focus. But one of the things that I've really been trying to hold space for is a conversation that a friend and I had yesterday. Janice, she called to check on my mental health. Because she was like, how are you doing? And I'm sure you get this too, because people think we're so social and all that.
Right.
But you know what? You and I, might I say, we are ambiverts, which means that we get our energy from people and we get our energy from being alone. And we're totally, right? Completely fine with
So
that,
they're comfortable in
right?
either
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
And you need both. I
Yeah.
do need both. I love you. I want to be around you, but also I need to be away from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I want to talk about, since you and I have been able to talk about this like openly, and we have friends that other male friends that we can talk about, is the male perspective of all this. The men, I feel like, my friend Janice, who's checking in on me yesterday, was like, "Yeah, Toan, who do you go to? Maybe you can do a blog or share a video about, the suicides that have been happening. There's been a lot of suicides, both men and women." That have gone through the roof, but and specifically men, because I know a lot of men. My brother-in-law felt this, like, oh, like how can I fend for my family? And then you feel less than because you feel like you have to fend for your family, or men aren't as open talking about their feelings, which I feel like you
Right.
bottled up, and then it causes you to be in your mind, and then you start doing and thinking about crazy things.
And that is crazy, especially when you are pressured from society, to provide and to be strong and to project strength at all times and all this other crap. You're not encouraged to be vulnerable or to really know who you really are beneath that veneer. And so I would I would suggest getting to know yourself and being honest with yourself. Because now nobody, you're home, you're in the comfort of your own home, so everybody can see you. You don't have anything to prove to anybody, but you can take this time and use it as an opportunity to really get to know yourself and be okay without judging yourself. And that again is like we were talking about earlier, just baby steps, one step at a time. It's like, who am I outside of, all my life I've been told I got to provide, I got to climb this corporate ladder. Well, who am I? Am I defining myself by the job that I occupy? Or who am I really, I guess is what you should really be asking yourself. Because if you are defining yourself by a job or an image that you're projecting to people, then yeah, you are going to be ripe for some madness.
Yeah, and you know what? I love that you said that. And I think that you just got to get real with yourself and get real with people you love and let people know that, raise your hand if you needed help, all of us. So guess what, right? 2 hands, 2 feet, right? But it's like, it's so important to talk about, you know what, like I made the wrong decisions business wise or money wise, or like I'm learning from it. And again, like we have said, if you don't learn from something, it's going to come back in different ways, shapes, forms, people, situations. And so if you need help, reach out. There's so many people that are there for you and want to help. And you know what, no matter what you're going through, I don't care what you're going through, right? I don't care, but I don't care, whatever it is you're going through, I should say, you're not alone. And there is hope, because we've all been in a situation where we've been heartbroken, we've been broke, or we've been, like we then made money, or then we like didn't have a job, then we had a job. It's just a part of life. And I want to leave it at this, is that everything we go through is a spiritual lesson.
Everything.
Right. Everything. Anyway, and so I think like, in even chatting like this, it's helping me sanitize my spirit. That's a term that I saw. Actually, I've been watching some of Jan Levanzant's Fix My Life, some of her kind of like, she calls it anti spiritual sanitizing something. And I was like, oh, I love that idea of sanitizing your spirit. And
yes,
it's great to check in with you. It's funny because I got a text from Lonnell and he was like, oh my God, we're so on the same vibe.
Because we were texting each other the same thought at the same time. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm reading it back like, wait, didn't I just send that to him? But yeah, it's true. When you are on that same vibration, it's just amazing.
Yeah, right. And again, I'm just like, I am taking time to focus on what's important and to take stock and reconnect with people that I love, and to just focus on, whenever I start stressing out, just focus on one thing. And I got a lot of things to be grateful for, just, and not even like things, physical things, but like, I got my breath and I'm like, okay right now.
Yeah.
Bill might
sometimes that's all you may have, because the day may be so overwhelming and crazy, but at least you've got that. So focus on that. But it is important that you focus on something for which to be grateful every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, let's do more of this.
Yes.
Finally, we got some time to like catch up, because again, both of us have, are guilty of, oh, we're busy, we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. But it's just nice to check in and reach out. So, I mean, I'm so grateful for this.
Yeah, well, let's catch up again soon for sure.
Yeah, I get so excited chatting with you, and I always like learn something. So I was like taking notes.
Yay!
All right, love you.
I'm doing
you guys.
The happiness course from Yale.
Yeah, that's on my list. You loving it?
I'm doing that. That's been a huge help too, and it's free.
I know. I'm gonna actually do that, and then maybe we get back on and talk about it.
Sounds good.
You got your printout and everything. I love that.
Okay.
All right. Be safe. Be well. Mwah.
See you soon.
All right. Bye.
Take care. Bye.